welcome to another edition of the Coast to Coast podcast. I am your co-host Beyond 716, and along here with Whittle 2K, we are here for episode 7 called The Road to 53. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, we thank you as always for listening to us. And if you like and subscribe to our podcast, we would greatly appreciate it. More great content to follow. So, Whittle, how are you today?
I'm great, man. I'm great. You know, less than a week. What is it, less than 2 weeks away? I mean, a few days
We
before
are
Monday night.
12 days away from Monday Night Football. Can you believe it?
Jim Kelly.
It felt so long. Yeah, Jim Kelly Day. We're Jim Kelly days away, bro. Exactly.
In honor of.
All right.
We're going with 17 today, man. We're going with 17.
Yeah, we're rolling with 17. Right. Absolutely.
Okay,
so just to kind of set things up here, you want to start with the big news in terms of the PUP list of Von Miller. If you want to start with some thoughts on that, and then we'll get into the cut days, cut down, and everything else from there.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, we know what Von Miller was brought for, right? We went out and got Von Miller because we needed a closer, and you don't bring your closer in the first inning. You bring your closer in at the end of the game when you want to win. So Von was brought here not for September and October. Von was brought in for January and eventually February, man. That's the goal. That's what the goal for this team is. It's to be playing in February. So that's the purpose of bringing Von in. There were a ton of guys that we brought in the offseason. Leonard Floyd, AJ Epinesa had a great year last year. And we'll get into some of the other roster moves that I think round out this defensive end unit. But we should be able to get sufficient pressure on the quarterback this year without Von Miller. We're bringing back Gregory Rousseau, aka Groot, 6'7", 275 pounds, out of Miami, soft-spoken, but he carries a big stick, can switch inside and outside, defensive tackle, defensive end, however you want it. Interception on Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about it. Like, Groot is the only pass rusher on the Buffalo Bills whose pressure rate increased after Von Miller got hurt last year. So I love it. I can't wait to see these guys get on the field and get it popping again. But Von is such a huge competitor, man. I know being on the pup and having to miss the first 4 games of the season is going to eat him alive. But we got him here for a reason, man. We got him here for a reason. We brought him in to be our closer. So we got a couple of comments. All right, we got Tommy. What's up, Tommy? What's up, Donna? Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cut down day. The road to 53, man. That's what this episode is about. Number one, we already talked about Von Miller. We talked about some of the guys that we're gonna make the team. And that are gonna help us out this year. We know about these guys, man. We know about them. But on cut down day, there were some surprise cuts. Finally, the Buffalo Bills have embraced the youth movement. I would love to start off talking about somebody else, but I want to give some credit to Ryan Vandermark and to Alec Anderson. Those guys came into the season as they were undrafted guys. They came in this year and they won. Like they won their spots on this roster. I appreciate that. Kingsley Jonathan is another guy. We'll talk about him in a little bit later, but that's another guy that I was surprised to see those guys make the roster, but they've embraced the youth movement, and I'm here for it, man. It's time. When you're paying your quarterback $1,100 billion, which is what Josh is making right now. That's why he's flying private jets back and forth to New York City to see his boo. You gotta cut costs in other areas, man. And one of the places you cut costs in is with some of those reserve guys, some of those guys that are gonna come in and give you snaps on a game-to-game basis. you want those guys to be young. You want them to be on cost control contracts, and you're looking for gems, man. You're looking for diamonds in the rough. And I like Brian Vandermark. He's a tackle out of UConn. I was surprised when he didn't get drafted. If I had more time before I was getting a haircut, guys, my barber's out in Patterson got me fresh. But if I had more time, I would have pulled up the RAS scores and some of the draft notes that I had on these guys. But Brian Vandermark, I loved him when he was coming out, man. Ideal length as a tackle. Great feet, great movement. The guy's a solid prospect. I was very surprised that he didn't get drafted. Alec Anderson, I liked him, but I wasn't totally sure. What's up, T? What's up, Jay? What's up, Pat? What's going on, everybody? I wasn't totally sure how Alec was going to translate. But he's got versatility, he plays all over the place, and he's got that one thing that you can't teach, which is that nasty streak, right? So when you have like offensive linemen, they don't get a lot of opportunities to go after people. But when they get the opportunity, you want a guy that's going to do it. Alec Anderson is that guy. I watched him against the Bears. He was constantly against the Steelers as well. He was constantly looking to find somebody to put in the turf. Like after he's finished with his initial block, he's looking for somebody else to obliterate. I love it. Yep. I love it because that's something you can't teach, you can't coach, right? You either have it or you don't. We said goodbye to a couple of veterans, right? David Questenberry. See you. He wasn't good for us, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get picked up someplace else. I think he already did.
Minnesota. Yeah, I believe Minnesota the Vikings have picked him up. Mm-hmm.
Minnesota picked him up, right? So and then and AJ Klein was the other guy. I thought AJ Klein would make the team. I thought he was going to make the 53, but he's a guy. I was listening to some other pods and things earlier today. I listened to Joe Marino, listened to the guys at Cover One. You listen to Buffalo Fanatics. They were talking about AJ Klein. AJ Klein is one of those guys that you're not worried about losing him to the practice squad. Nobody's beating the door down to see, nobody's beating down his door to bring him in. And then there were some other cuts that kind of surprised me as well. How did you feel about Darrington Evans? I thought he was going to make the 53, but
I thought he had a shot too. I agree. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah, there was special teams value there. I'm just a little surprised. I was surprised he didn't make the. I was a little surprised that he didn't make the team because I thought that he could add value as a special teams guy.
Agree.
Then there was some roster gymnastics. They brought in. They cut Andy Isabella. They cut Reed Ferguson. They cut some of the other young guys that we like. Richard Garage. He was a undrafted free agent that we picked up. What's up, Jeremy? Well,
hey, Jeremy.
We picked him up out of Florida. Another Florida kid. Like I feel like we just scout the SEC and that's it because like all of our kids are coming from there. But we picked him up as an undrafted rookie. He played well in the preseason, and they cut him, but they're bringing him back to the practice squad. Seventh round pick, Alex Austin. He was cut, and 6th round pick Nick Broker out of Ole Miss. I want to say,
I believe so.
Off the top of my head, yeah. Those guys were cut as well, and they got picked up by Houston. So they're finishing. They're gonna continue their career out there in Houston. Best of luck to those gentlemen. I like the Nick Broker pick when we picked him up. He's somebody that myself and Guru took a good hard look at during the draft situation. Yes, T. T popped in with a question. Do you think AJ will be back? Absolutely. AJ's gonna come back. He's gonna be in a practice squad, and like he'll be back on the practice squad. And speaking, the other roster gymnastics we got, Andy Isabella was cut. I was surprised, right? Andy Isabella was cut. We kept Justin Shorter. I was out on Shorter when we drafted him. because I looked at him and I really didn't see a lot when he was at Florida. So I was kind of out on him. He just seemed like a big kid that kind of, had ideal size and all of that.
Yeah.
But I really didn't see the football reason to keep him. But we end up keeping him, and the plan, I believe, is he went on the IR, and they're gonna bring Andy Isabella to the practice squad, and then eventually, I believe he'll be on the 53. A couple other young guys, Terrell Shavers, we brought back to the practice squad. Darrington Evans is on the practice squad. And Zane Anderson got snatched up. He's a backup safety, but we're probably gonna bring Dean Marlowe back to the practice squad, and Jared Mayton, the other kid, the other safety. So we'll probably bring those guys back as well. And it's cool. Like I'm totally okay with how things are moving. How did you feel about the cuts and the, what we had?
Well, Whittle, you mentioned something about the youth movement, right? And we've been a franchise that's had our eyes on Kansas City, right? And we saw what Kansas City did last year, right? Where they traded Tyreek Hill, right? Now I know we lost Tremaine Evans to free agency, but I think it sounded a little bit of alarm off for Kansas City to say, listen, we need to get a little bit younger. We need to get a little bit. I don't like to say cheap labor, but cheaper assets, right? Yeah, and I think that's what Bean and McDermott have come to understand, especially looking at our cap in 2024 and beyond. We know Brandon Beans talked about sustainability, right? Longevity, playing, sustaining success. So this is a perfect year to do it, Whittle. Isn't this what this season's all about? Guys like Kingsley Jonathan. I mean, what a great story for this kid, right? I mean, to make that 53, a kid out of Syracuse. I mean, Alec Anderson from UCLA, right from right here in Fontana. I mean, those are the kind of stories that I love this time of year. Is yes, there are a lot of, you love to see some of the players stick, but at least the practice squad now has 16. So I feel like at least they still have jobs in the league, and they're still one step away from the big time, right? Unfortunately, if an injury happens, they could be here. So, I as far as the price cuts, I wasn't overly blown away by a lot of the cuts. I mean, maybe Richard Garage is a guy that I thought maybe would have made the 53, but when you talk more about what Van Denmark brings, right, and what Alec Anderson brings, it doesn't really surprise me that he didn't make the 53. But isn't it amazing how our offensive tackle depth looks so much better now than it did a few weeks ago?
Well,
I mean, that's one of the first things that pops to me, even though it's not. I mean, we don't know how good it could be, but it just feels better to me than it did a couple weeks ago.
Well, we did pick up. Well, one of the reasons why a guy like Garage did not make the team is because we made some moves, man. We made some moves. One of those moves was right tackle Jermaine Ifedi, Ifedi. He played tackle for the Seattle Seahawks, and from what I've gathered from listening to other people and kind of seeing some things on seeing some things brought up about by his skill set. He's a solid pass blocker, man. I'm trying to pull up. There we go. We'll pull up his stuff right now. I'll give me about 2 seconds.
Sure.
Again, like I'm. Oh, they don't have it in there yet. All right, that's fine. Let me pull up something. Let's see if he's they still have him in Seattle. Oh man, they don't even have him here either. Jesus. Well, anyway, then we picked up George Ifedi, man, and we picked up a linebacker. So two of the things that have been bothering me since Tremaine Edmonds went to Chicago was the middle linebacker spot and the right tackle position. Was not a fan of Spencer Brown last year. Was not a fan of Spencer Brown being handed the job this year. Was not a fan of Terrell Bernard last year. Was not a fan of Tyrell Dodson last year or this year. And when we drafted Dorian Williams, he was like fourth on my list for linebackers. Maybe fifth if you want to count the kid. If you want to count the kid Henley from Washington State. But my middle linebacker rankings for the draft were simple. It was my boy out of now I can't think. Jesus.
Happens to me all the time, Whittle.
Jeez. Who's Jack Campbell from Iowa? Jack Campbell from Iowa. All right, yeah, my bad.
Correct.
Jack Campbell from Iowa. That was my guy. I was beating the table from when they had Jack Campbell. When they had Jack Campbell slated to go second or third round, I'm beating the table in like March. Like, yo, 29, we need to take Jack Campbell. I don't know if he's gonna make it to 59, but I mean, or 26 or wherever our draft pick was. I'm like, yo, we let Tremaine walk. We need to go out and get this guy. Right. He goes, where did he go? 16 to the
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, he went like 16 to the Lions. I don't know. I was pissed off about that. T's got a question. We'll get back to my statements in a minute. Okay, let me ask you guys, how do you feel about this team not drafting a player between Brown? Yeah, like it bothered me. Like we're handing the reins over to the right side of Josh, which is very important because that's where Josh got hurt. Like that's where he, the injury came. Bryce Huff came off that right side and tore his arm, tore his elbow up. So handing it back to him without like going out and looking for upgrades and things like that, I kind of didn't like it, man. It didn't give me a warm and fuzzy about what we were doing. Like, do y'all really care about Josh or don't y'all care about him? Spencer Brown has looked better. I got to be honest. Spencer Brown has looked better, T. If you go back and watch the games, on every rep outside of speed rushes, Spencer Brown looks solid. He looks good in running. He looks good in run again in the run game. I mean, I think he's going to be fine. But they went out and got a guy. Germain Ifedi is quality depth. He can come in and start, so we'll be fine. But the big one, the big addition was Christian Kirksey, man. Like everybody is like, before Christian Kirksey even got released, when it was just rumors that he might not make the team or Houston was looking to move on, Christian Kirksey's name kept flying around. As soon as he hit the market, Buffalo puts the waiver thing in. It didn't even need to. Like he's a vested free agent, so he's a vested veteran. So when he became available, Bean did what Bean does. We had the Bean After Dark Spaces. Shout out to Tommy and Pat and the rest of those guys that put that together in the offseason. Yeah, we went out and we got that guy, man. We got him. What's up, Nautica? We went out and got the guy that we wanted. The kid, let me pull up his numbers, man. Because I was, when I saw his stat line, I was just like, yeah, this is definitely the type of cat we need on the team. So let's see. Last season, he played 17 games for the Texans. He played 17 games for the Texans last year. He had 124 total tackles, 5 pass defense, five pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, 3 sacks, 7 QB hits, 7 tackles for loss. 7 tackles for losses. I like it. He's built for tough, 6'2", 235 pounds. I mean, that's more size than what we have now. But it's not Tremaine Edmonds. You're not gonna find another 6'5", 250-pound guy.
He's a unicorn. Yeah, Edmonds was a unicorn in that respect, for sure.
Yeah, so the biggest question marks we had, right? I don't want to keep belaboring this point, but the biggest question marks we had coming into the season was middle linebacker, right tackle. We don't need a top 10 offensive line. We just need a little bit. Give me mid, right? Ifedi and Christian Kirksey. I think those guys they're veterans. They'll come in. They'll fill the gap nicely. What about you, Beyond? We made some additions. Talk to me a little bit about Andy Isabella. You know what I mean? How do you feel about these guys that we just brought in?
I think when you really look at everything that the Bills have done, really since the beginning of the offseason, right? Considering the lack of funds that the Bills and cap space that they had to work with, I think Bean's done a really good job of trying to fill the trenches, especially with guys. We talked about Puna Ford, right? We talked about Leonard Floyd, right? And the additions on the offensive line, while they're not the sexiest moves in the world, but I mean, I love the Torrance pick in the draft. That was one of my favorite picks. I think within the constraints of what Bean had to work with, I think he did an excellent job, really across the board. I can't think of a spot, really, except for backup quarterback right now, where he hasn't at least tried to address, in certain situations at this point. Of course, special teams because we're set there, right? So,
Right.
from that point of view, I'm very pleased with where the Bills are. I feel like they're a little bit more prepared for the rigors of playoff football, against teams like Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati showed us last year that now we know where our headspace was that game, but I think they exploited a little bit, maybe a few flaws that we had in our roster. And I think Bean has gone out and really addressed that this offseason to at least prep us better. And again, maybe it won't show in the standings as much as we want to think this year. I mean, maybe we end up 12-5, but you know what, Little? We may be a lot more prepared going into the postseason and stronger because the AFC in general is very, very strong. So I think from that point of view, I'm pretty pleased. You mentioned Isabella. I mean, he's still an interesting piece. I mean, there's a lot going on right now with some players on IR, et cetera. So we'll see where he fits in going forward. He brings an interesting skill set that we've talked about a lot without Cole Beasley, right? So I think the Bills are going to try to reinvent that Beasley wheel from a few different pieces. So I'm really hoping that we can pull that off this year.
Right. One thing I do love about Isabella is he has one of those traits that you can't teach, man. You can't teach a guy how to run faster. Like not fast like that. This is a 4.3 guy. Like he has legit game breaking speed. He's functioned in the in the return game before. So between him, Hardy, Evans is on the practice squad. I mean, we've got guys that, and we've got enough guys to go back there and take care of that problem. Speaking of other moves that don't necessarily affect us directly, the face of the franchise was cut today. Isaiah
Yep.
McKenzie was cut by the Indianapolis Colts today. It's surprising. They're running right now with 3 wide receivers on their roster. I'm sure they're gonna make a ton of moves. I gotta look into what they're doing, but yeah, man, that it's crazy, bro. Like
the amount of players that just got cut in the last few days it's unbelievable, right? And again, we're talking about you're so close to making the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
It a very, very hard thing to do, even just to play one game, get alone. For some play 200, some are Hall of Famers, some have productive careers, and you just see there's so many players like a Keyshawn Johnson who we cut, right? Who was another guy that looked pretty solid. That again, maybe on another team he makes it, or maybe but in our case, it's just it's not going to happen. We just got too much depth at the wide receiver position, but it just really goes to show you just how difficult it is to be a pro.
Hey, what's going on, DH? Yes, I believe they brought Keyshawn Johnson back onto the practice squad. Don't quote me on it. Don't quote me on it. I did not get the chance to really look into all the moves, but let me see if I still have this page up. Bills.
I do have a list of some practice squad players that we have. Now I don't know how recent this is because you know how Twitter, it's 5 hours ago from the Bills. I don't see Johnson on there. I see Ty Johnson on there, but I do not see Keyshawn Johnson on there.
Nope. He just got cut, man. Yikes. Greg Mance. When they brought Greg Mance back, they brought Eli Ankou back. Joe Wilson, they brought him back. Jamarcus Ingram was brought back. I love that.
Yes.
I was surprised when they cut Ike Bacher. I got it. Hold on. We gotta take a second. Hold on, we gotta take a second.
Because he was big. He was big in the locker room too, supposedly.
Do you see?
Well.
Do you see what's on the screen, Beyond? Is he
Oh,
lost?
we got a little.
What's up, Showtime?
Showtime?
Yeah, this is my guy, Showtime. What's up, man? Fins up, no fins down, man. The thing with the Fins, man, and we're gonna get into the Fins a little later, man. Y'all keep getting left at the altar this off season, man. We're gonna talk about it though in a few for sure. But I appreciate you pulling up, my brother.
Thanks.
One move we definitely did not talk about that I'm upset with myself because this is one of my guys, man. Boogie Basham has been traded to the New York Giants, aka Buffalo Bills Southeast, for a pick swap, man. Like we traded, what's up, Ricky? And we traded so we traded Boogie Basham and a 7th round pick to the Giants and got a 6th round back for 2025. I'm not happy about it. I think the cost control contract of the rookie deal for the second round pick, I think we should have kept him. I would have been more in favor of trading AJ Epinesa, who, in my opinion, would get you way more back. And I don't know if we re-sign him. If he has another 6.5 or more sack season, he may price himself out of what we're looking to do. Randy, man, let's talk about this. We're gonna get into this right after we finish talking about Boogie, man.
Yep.
Boogie had a good preseason. It was looking good for him. One thing Boogie brings to the table, man, is that versatility, that inside-outside flex. He can play 3-tech, and he can play defensive end. He can play the 5-tech. And the guy's motor is always running, man. The guy's he's got like those, his feet are always moving. He's never given up on a play. He's one of those see ball, go get ball type players. I love that guy, but he's a Giant now, like Isaiah Hodgins and half the roster from last year that we didn't keep. But yeah, like
you know what I think got to me most about that deal, Whittle? 2025 pick swap, not even 2024. I mean, wow, that was unbelievable.
Let's show. We got a lot of ops in the building today. Oh,
yeah, this is great. Thank you all for coming in.
What's up, Benny?
Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all for coming through, man. Tail flight,
hey, Benny. What's up, Benny?
Tail flight. Oh,
Benny
take flight. Oh, my fault. Take flight.
Take flight.
Don't get nervous, man. Not yet. I know you see these 5 letters, and don't get nervous, man. You got a little while longer to live. Don't worry. We're coming to town real soon.
You got 12 days left.
But yes, 12 days left. But that move of trading Boogie Basham opened up the door for a surprise 53 roster guy, Kingsley Jonathan. And we talked about this guy last year, Beyond. We talked about him in the spaces, right? I think that they are finally building a complementary room. When they drafted Gregory Rousseau, and then they followed, not Rousseau. They drafted AJ Epinesa. They came back the very next year, they got Boogie Basham. And I think that was the same year that they got didn't Boogie and Rousseau come in the same year? Yeah, they came in the same year.
I believe so, yes.
They were both in the same draft. So they were both in the same draft, right? And I just felt like it was a little overkill. Like I was like, why are we getting all these defensive ends? Or maybe we're trying to protect ourselves against, one of these guys hitting, and then they're, we don't have them anymore, right? We don't have them anymore. They leave for free agency, whatever the deal was. I just really wish I would have, I really wish we would have kept him and gave him another shot, man, to put some work in. And I thought we would have got a little bit more back for AJ, but Kingsley Jonathan, man, like you said, you brought him up. Kid from Syracuse, undrafted guy, speed. Like we needed a speed rusher outside of Von Miller. We got a speed rusher outside of Von Miller. Kingsley Jonathan has real burst. He's that bendy edge rusher that we need, and I love it. I love it. Like I love the move. I love the fact that we give him an opportunity to come in and make some things happen. He's going to definitely have an opportunity over these first 4 weeks of the season with Von out on the pup. So let's see what he can do, man. Maybe he makes AJ Epinesa expendable. We got a comment
Absolutely.
from Randy. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. Where is it? Oh, there we go. This is another surprise, right? Christian Benford name is CB2. Are you surprised? How surprised are you? I'm super surprised. I thought it was. I thought it should. I think it should be Kyer Elam because I think he brings more to the table from a skill set standpoint. Like the guy's great in press man. Fast. He's faster than Benford. He allows you to do more things. Like I think you can really get into combo coverages when you have a guy like Elam on the field because one you can have man-to-man coverage on his side and then zone up everything else and then you can blitz, right? So you can throw a bunch of different looks at an offense and all those different looks are going to cause the quarterback to have to look and see, all right, I see man here. This is zone. Oh, and the blitz is coming. None of that is looking at the receivers or going through your progressions, trying to figure out what's going on. So I like to have that guy on the roster. But Benford came out and earned the job. I remember talking him up after the Miami game. I thought before he hurt his hand at halftime, he had Waddle and Alcatraz, man. I mean, Waddle really couldn't do anything. So kudos to him, man. The kid played well. He sticks his nose in there on defense. He sticks his nose in there against the run. I like the kid. Like, what are your thoughts on?
Benford. There's just a quiet confidence I have with Benford when he's on the field. I can't really describe it, in X's and O's as well as you can, Whittle. But as far as Kyer Elam goes, I do agree with you. I hope that Elam takes this in the way that would be beneficial for him long term. I don't think there's any reason for us to give up on Kyer Elam yet. Right. As far as an organization goes, he's got plenty of time, and he still may be worked in this year. It's like you said earlier about Von Miller, right? Von Miller being out the first 4 weeks hurts, but we're playing the long game, right? We're looking October, November, December, and maybe there's just some things Elam can work on, and you never know with injuries and all that. So just be ready and be prepared. And I think he'll eventually show himself this season. So you can never have enough corners in this league. That's one thing I really do firmly believe in. We found out last year our depth was one of the best in the NFL, and our depth was still compromised. Waddle getting 100 in Game 4 showtime. Not if Benford's on the field. That ain't happening. Maybe take about 50 off that total.
Now he's talking about the yards, like he's gonna count his steps. Yeah. He's counting his steps from the locker room onto the field. So that's probably about 30 yards right there. Just then you got warm-ups, pacing on the sideline. So he might get there, man. He might get there. You never know. We got a lot of chatter. We got a lot of chatter right here about.
We do. It's great.
Did you see that Waddle was part? Wait, what? Wait, do we have breaking news?
Oh, could you imagine if we had breaking news on the podcast?
Hold on, man. Hold on. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about while we look this up. While I'm looking this up, we got to show some love to Brandon Beane right now. I think so. I think that Brandon Beane's come under a lot of fire for some of the misses in his drafting over the last few years. Day 2 hasn't really been great for him. But he has found some pretty good gems on day 3, and Ed Oliver can be viewed as Ed Oliver can be viewed as a I don't want to say a bust, but it's kind of a bust. Like he was drafted top 10, and he has not had top 10 draft production on the field. So I mean, it's cool. He hasn't done that well. What's my man name? What's my man name that we just were talking about? Boogie Basham. That's a day 2 guy. And then Kyer Elam. Like Kyer Elam was another guy that we took him in the first round. Not my first choice at corner. You know, I wanted, you know who I wanted. Okay, so that's what it is. Y'all got me looking this stuff up, man. I'm trying to
I
look
know.
at
I was
that.
scurrying all over the
Yeah,
place for
the
this.
chat is jumping right now. Listen, so the
Yeah.
Colts apparently asked for Waddle in the Jonathan Taylor
Wow.
trade, and Miami said, well, I'll just put this up here. Hey, that's what they
Play
said. All
safe.
right.
Thanks, but no thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree, man. Like a lot of what they do is based on those other two guys that those two guys, Hill and Waddle, that they clear a lot of space so everybody else can get open. But anyway, showing some love to Brandon Beane. I love what Brandon Beane does on day 3. I think he's found some gems. Matt Milano, Dawson Knox was the 4th round pick. Uh, who else? Dane Jackson, DeMar Hamlin. Like these guys are all third. These are all day 3 picks, right? These are all day 3 picks, and they are starters or key reserves on this team. There's not a lot of GMs doing that, man.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? The thing about this is, I mean, I go through history just thinking about great GMs that did great jobs. I mean, I don't know why John Schneider from Seattle popped in my head, right? Remember, he won a Super Bowl with Seattle, built those Super Bowl teams. Then he traded for guys like Percy Harvin and Jimmy Graham. We're both bust trades, right?
Right.
Like two things could be equal. You could say Brandon Beane is doing an excellent job at being an NFL general manager, and he can also take an L on the Boogie Basham pick and the trade. Two things can be equal, right? It doesn't have to be, oh, well, Brandon Beane missed on the Boogie Basham trade, so that means he's doing a terrible job. Absolutely not. Brandon Beane, you got to look at the total. Our pal Kevin Massari had a good tweet this week about the percentage, I guess, where the Bills rank in terms of picking first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7th round. And we're 28th in the second round. But if you look at the rest of the rounds, like you said, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, I mean, really, Whittle, at the end of the day, does it matter if we get a great, excellent player in the 5th round or the 2nd round? I'm looking at the whole package here, right? As long as we're getting a couple, like look at our draft this year. If Dorian Williams, O'Cyrus Torrence, and Dalton Kincaid all pop, I mean, not to disrespect the rest of the draft, I'm good. I mean, those 3 guys could be big impact players for us for the next 5 years under the rookie deal, or 4 to 5 years under the rookie deal. So that's where my headspace is with that. So I agree. We need to applaud Beane. There's a lot of reasons. Just the spokesman he is for this franchise, Whittle. I mean, you see him on interviews with Pat McAfee and just how well he represents this organization. Think about the turnaround. Think about the tweet that Ian Rappaport sent about the linebacker we signed, Christian Kirksey. Did you happen to catch that tweet by any chance?
No, I didn't.
And I'm going to try to bring it up because, and the reason I probably should have had this ready, but he said, and I'm going to bring up what Christian Kirksey said. The last 3 words of his tweet said, he prioritized winning. And he's talking about the Buffalo Bills. That's an extension of Brandon Beane, right there. Like we have guys like him, like Poona Ford, guys that are saying, you know what, we're going to take some less money. We're going to ride with you in Buffalo, right? Not Los Angeles, not Chicago, not Miami. Sorry, Showtime, right?
Yeah.
Buffalo, right? So it speaks to where I agree with you. I think we need to give Brandon Beane. I think this has been one of his most creative and fantastic jobs this offseason, minus the Boogie Basham trade aside. I think he's done a fantastic job this year.
Yeah. Another thing I want to add to another feather in Brandon Beane's cap, and also Sean McDermott needs to be given some flowers on this as well, is the addition of Aaron Kromer, right? So the offensive line has been an issue for years now. And they went out and got Aaron Kromer. And last year, there were some rumblings about, well, Aaron Kromer didn't do anything. Offensive line still sucks, right? But then you see this year, right? Ryan Van Der Mark, who had an offseason with Kromer last year and had an offseason with Kromer this year and a full year of practice on the practice squad with them last year, right? Alec Anderson, another guy, full offseason with with uh uh with Aaron Cromer, and you're starting to see the turn. You're starting to see these guys get better. You're starting to see the dividends start to show, man, and it honestly is awesome because if you're getting great value on day 3, honestly, what they should do is just let me pick on day 2. I won't fail you. Let me pick. Let me draft the guys on day 2. I'll take care of it. No problem. Um,
Mhm.
I think I could do a great job. That's just me though. But I do want to give Cromer and I want to give Cromer and Bean some love, man. Cromer has put his imprint on his offensive line so far. These guys are nasty up front. They are looking to put people in the dirt, and I love every second of it. But Beyond, do you have anything else before I get into my little rant? Because I have a little rant coming up.
I've been waiting for this rant for a while, so I don't want to take too much time, away from it. But it's been quite a week. I feel like you said, overall, just looking at what we did at middle linebacker, just looking at the offensive line, everything in particular, I just feel more secure in this franchise in terms of their depth, in terms of the options we have on both sides of the ball. The linebacker position is just going to take some time, right? We're
Right.
gonna and considering we have a defensive minded coach, it's like what the Steve Spagnuolo seems to do in Kansas City quite well. His defenses evolve, and he even did that with the Giants, right? I expect us to do the same now with McDermott, right? The first 4 weeks, maybe we're going to see Dotson out there. We don't really want to, or maybe we're going to see some gaps and some breakdowns. But I do expect as the year goes on, McDermott, it has a very exotic defense and a way of doing things. I do think it's going to show itself in a good way going forward. So just to kind of assess the whole week, I just feel more confident in a lot of our really our depth at this point, especially after cutting down to 53. And now I turn it to Whittle's Rant, sponsored by not the Miami Dolphins.
Sponsored by nobody, right? All right. This week, it was a few days ago. We talked about this beyond. I went back and I finally pulled out the all 22 and I went through the Cincinnati Bengals and Buffalo game, right? I went through the game. And it was a difficult watch. It was a difficult thing to see. There were a lot of plays that we left on the field that should have been completions. And it was a little disheartening. It was a little disheartening. But going through it with the all 22, the second time around, I started to see some things that made me really, really, really confident about the direction that this team is going in. I saw on a touchdown to Jamar Chase, I saw Dean Marlowe, who is going to be on our practice squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw Dean Marlowe. I saw him. I saw him attack the flat when he should have sank in coverage and taken away that Jamar Chase touchdown, right across the middle of the field. That upset me. It bothered me a little bit. But I saw that for what it was. I saw it as a mistake and something that's easily correctable. And we corrected with 23. Micah Hyde is there. Micah Hyde doesn't make that mistake. Micah Hyde probably intercepts that football because Micah Hyde sits back and he sinks in coverage and he waits and he watches Joe Burrow and he says, I am going to pounce because Joe Burrow's under pressure and he sees Jamar Chase sitting in the middle of the field wide open. And that's a ball I could either get to or take away. I saw the second touchdown that went to Hayden Hurst where Jordan Poyer had his eyes in the backfield and just got beat. I think that's easily correctable. think Jordan Poyer was hurt. I think Jordan Poyer was trying to make a play, and he wasn't playing. He wasn't playing football where he trusted his teammates. Right? He didn't trust the other guys to take care of that screen pass that they faked, that they were faking. Right? They're faking like they were setting up. It was a great play call. But I'm an accountant. I have I have my day job. I have my kids. I have my lady. I have all of these different things going on, and I found time to go through this all 22 and see not just the loss, but the underlining things within the loss that made me that I saw, and I said to myself, I said, you know what? We looked bad on the score, but in the game, there were points in that game where it didn't have to be as bad as it was, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm able to do that, why can't the guys that are getting paid millions of dollars to talk football and analyze football from these big networks, why can't they do the same thing? Now, maybe you want to say that I'm looking at it with my fan glasses on or whatever. And that's fine. You can say that. But the numbers do not lie. The Buffalo Bills are a top 3 offense, and we're not 3. Okay? And we were a top 3 offense last year without being able to attack the middle of the field. We were a top 3 offense last year without a solid slot receiver option that we could trust. We were inconsistent with the amount of time that we ran the football and in the points of the game that we ran the football. And we were inconsistent with the play calling, right? We didn't like what the play calling was. So in addition to Spencer Brown's back injury, in addition to Ryan Saffold being absolutely terrible. Sorry, like he's an NFL player. Cool. You played terrible for the Buffalo Bills last year. And when we needed you most, you played terrible. It just is what it is. So if I'm able to turn on the film, right, the all 22 in my living room, and watch these things and go through and see the silver lining in areas where the Buffalo Bills can improve with easy fixes. Why can't these guys that are getting paid mad money just to sit home and talk sports, why can't they do the same thing? So the bottom line is, if you think the Buffalo Bills are done, you're an idiot. Okay? In the words of Pierre Kingpin, remember who we have. We have 17. Okay? Mm-hmm. Top 3 quarterback in the league, and he's not 3. Sorry, Cincinnati. Josh Allen's the second best quarterback in the NFL. And the moment he raises the Lombardi trophy, the arguments start whether or not he's the best quarterback in the NFL. The moment he raises one, okay? The moment he raises one, the argument starts whether or not he's the best quarterback in the NFL. The offensive line that failed us last year, especially the interior offensive line, it's not that anymore. Okay? Connor McGovern, plus pass blocker. David Edwards, plus run blocker from the Super Bowl champion LA Rams. Osiris Torrance, arguably the best guard prospect in the draft this year. We got him in the second round at 59. Okay? Most of you teams had 2 shots at him, and you let him pass. We got that guy. Right tackle, Spencer Brown is healthy, and you go and watch the film yourself. He looks good. Everything outside of a speed rush, the man looks good. Okay? Go watch game. Oh, we lost out. We back. Go watch the Steelers game. Steelers, not the regular season game last year, the preseason game. Once you get past the point where the offensive line got bum rushed, and you see Dalton Kincaid, how effortlessly and smoothly he runs his routes across the middle. He's wide open against safeties. He's wide open against corners. I mean, he's wide open against linebackers and safeties. You understand that? The man plucks the ball out the air. He doesn't drop anything. He had 2 drops. What, he had 3 drops in his college career? 3. Mm-hmm. 3 drops. So last year, so you mean to tell me the Buffalo Bills are done? I haven't even touched I haven't even touched the defensive side of the football. We're gonna get there in a second. But you telling me that last year the Buffalo Bills were a top 3 offense and they weren't 3. And we couldn't attack the middle of the field because we didn't have a slot receiver. We had poor play from the right tackle. We had abysmal play from the right tackle and the left guard. We had a ton of injuries. And our quarterback, we had a rookie play caller in Ken Dorsey. Oh, and our quarterback had a torn UCL after the Jets game. I believe it was week 9. So he played with a torn UCL for the rest of the year. And we were the second offense. We were the number 2 offense. We had Devin Singletary as a lead back who had over 800 yards, and we were the number 2 offense in the league. So what did we do this offseason? We added Damian Harris. 2 years ago, Damian Harris had like 15 touchdowns. Okay? That man is 6 feet tall. That man is about almost 6 feet tall, about 215, 220 pounds, and he owns the division. He owns the division. Okay? James Cook is the feature back. James Cook is not a feature back. All right. The Jets know about James Cook because they got his big brother. They got his big brother Dalvin. We got the young guy now. We got the young guy. We're gonna unleash him week 1. That's coming soon. Josh Allen is healthy. Stephon Diggs is healthy. Gabe Davis is healthy. Dawson Knox is healthy. Spencer Brown is healthy. And this is year 2. This is year 2 of the play caller. You know what he's using? Pre-snap motion.
What a beautiful
He's
sight.
using 12 person now. So yeah, line your speed rusher up on the right side because you now. Line your speed. Let me cook beyond. I'm almost done. Listen, line rusher up around you think he can't deal with. We'll just chip him with Dawson Knox. That's it. We'll just chip him with Dawson Knox, baby. That's it. Now what? Let's go to the defensive side of the football. Trey White coming back from the ACL injury. I didn't love it. He didn't look great. Von Miller went down against the Lions. Pass rush went from 11th in the league to bottom to the bottom 5 of the league. Right? That's what happened. Okay? We had poor interior defensive line play. Once Daquan Jones went down, Jordan Phillips went down, we really didn't have anything left, man. I mean, we had a couple of undrafted guys from the practice squad. We had Tim Settle, who was dealing with injuries all season. What happened, though? We went out and got Poona Ford. Jordan Phillips is back. Jordan Phillips is healthy. He's practicing. Daquan Jones is back. Ed Oliver's re-signed. And, oh, by the way, the insurance policy, just in case Von Miller can't go week 1, which he can't right now. And we brought in Leonard Floyd, 29.5 sacks over the last 3 years. You can say what you want. Well, he was lined up next to Aaron Donald. Oh my God, what is he going to do now? Last year, Aaron Donald missed 7 games, and most of the games he played in, he left early for injury. So the man can produce. Gregory Rousseau had 8 sacks last year. And he was the only pass rusher on the Buffalo Bills whose pressure rate improved after Von Miller left. So let's talk about the other areas, right? Kyer Elam, Dane Jackson is healthy. Christian Benford is healthy. Ain't no more broken hand now. Miami, hello. Christian Benford is healthy. You will see him week 4. You will see Kyer Elam. Remember that first half of game 1? When Hill and Waddle couldn't do anything, had them boys in the seatbelt, both of them. Tyreek Hill in the seatbelt and Jalen Waddle in the car seat, strapped in, locked up. Both of them. Not both of them, both of them locked up. And Jamarcus Ingram is on the practice squad. You're not going up against those guys now. You're going up against bona fide starters. It's not a situation now where you're dealing with no Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. Our guys are back. Okay? By the end of this year, you're looking at the Buffalo Bills with a top 5 secondary in the NFL. Point blank, period. Trey White's going to be back to what he was. Okay? We got 3 All-Pros sitting back there, baby. 3 All-Pros. Trey White, 2-time. Jordan Poyer, and Micah Hyde. Oh, and we're gonna have and we're gonna have a comeback player of the year as well, and my man Hamlin. Hamlin made the 53. He earned it too. Cam Lewis is coming back. That's a depth piece. Boy can play the slot. Boy can play safety. He plays special teams. He's everywhere. We added the areas where we lacked, we improved. Deontay Hardy is the improvement for Isaiah McKenzie. Trent Sherfield is the improvement for what was touchdown Jesus for touchdown Jesus.
Kumro?
Those are the improvements. Yes, Kumro. Those are the improvements. Randy, I'm on that, baby. Don't worry about it. Y'all know about Taron Johnson. Taron Johnson stick his nose in there on the run, and Taron Johnson to take that ball away and run it back for 6. Don't play with us. Don't play with us. I had the pleasure of listening to Chris Sims and Mike Florio today tell their audience that the Buffalo Bills are going to finish at best 3rd in the AFC East this year. 3rd. Huh? 3rd. Where? Like, what did these teams do to improve themselves past the Buffalo Bills? Now, Miami, I like Miami. Miami's a nice team. They can do it. They're very flashy. They got the nice, pretty teal uniforms. They play in the easy bake oven of a stadium. We got that. We got all that. We understand that. But at the end of the day, they still can't attack the middle of the field. They still don't have a pass rush up the middle. Oh, when they overpaid for Bradley Chubb. I'm not worried about y'all. Okay? I want y'all to pin this. I'm not worried about Miami. Y'all can't win the division. You're not good enough. Sorry. You're not good enough. I like your wide receivers. They're cool. You needed a tight end. You didn't get one. You needed to make additions on your offensive line. You didn't do that. You needed to make additions in your secondary. You drafted Cam Smith, who I like. I liked him. Cam Smith coming out of South Carolina, but he hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked good in the preseason. These are just the facts. You went out and spent all this money on Jalen Ramsey, a guy who, we took turns on last year, and he's hurt already. Y'all was worried about Trey White. Trey White's playing. He'll be there week 1. On to the Jets. Y'all brought in Aaron Rodgers. Cool. We like it, man. You brought in Dalvin Cook. Great. You got the reigning MVP. You got the reigning Rookie of the Year on offense and defense. Awesome. Got a great defensive line. Love it. Love it. You always play as tough. We love that too. We love it. But what you don't have are safeties. What you don't have are linebackers that can do anything with wide receiver 3, 4, and tight end 2. Nothing. Y'all don't have nothing for them. Nothing. Elwin, on the offensive side of the football, y'all are depending on a 38-year-old left tackle. You're depending on a right tackle who's played probably as many football games as Kingsley Jonathan. And you drafted Mekhi Becton in the first round. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. He is not Tom Brady. And Mecole Hardman is not Tyreek Hill. Okay? You brought a bunch of guys in who I like as individual players, but I can't see it, man. I don't see y'all getting us, bro. Not week 1. You got too many moving parts. Y'all on Hard Knocks. Y'all doing this, y'all doing that. Yeah, y'all looking good in the streets right now. I'm going to tell y'all, just like I told one of y'all fans earlier today, y'all are the talk of the town right now. And in 1974, George Foreman was the talk of the town until he went to Zaire and ran up against that old dog. Yeah. Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Sting like a bee. We coming week 1. You understand me? We're coming week 1. So good luck to the rest of the league, man. Good luck to the teams. Y'all had a great chance, man. When we didn't have a middle linebacker and we didn't have a right tackle, y'all had a great chance. We got all that now. There's no excuses. It's Super Bowl or bust for us. Super Bowl or bust. But anyway, I'm gonna cut that off right there, man. And I'm gonna go right into what we got popping off for next week. Next week, I appreciate everybody that's here right now. Please, please, please share the pod with your friends and your family and your Bills fans. Even if you're not a Bills fan, man, we talk about other teams. Like we had the Colt, we had representation from the Colts in here, we have representation from the Steelers in here. Yo, man, we gonna do it big this year, but next week we got a big show next week. Big show next week. Okay, I need everybody here next week. Next week we are previewing week 1 with the Jets. Okay, we are going to bring in the 4 horsemen, the Buffalo Bills Twitter 4 horsemen. We're gonna bring them in. I can't guarantee that all 4 will be here, but we are definitely going to bring a few of them in here. We are bringing in Petey Pablo, Jets, the face of Jets Twitter. You know what I'm saying? They call Petey Pablo the DILF. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my guy. I love Petey to death. Yeah, man, we got Petey. So we got
He's
Petey,
the best.
Petey coming in. Yeah, Petey's the best, man. We got him coming in
Yeah.
next week. We got Damian Woody coming in to next week. Former offensive lineman for the New York Jets and the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. He is currently now an ESPN analyst. Damian Woody is a great dude. He comes into these Twitter spaces with us, talks trash with us, man, chops it up with us. Family man, great guy. He'll be in here next week as well. I am still confirming 2 other potential guests. I did get a verbal, well, not a verbal, but like a written yes from John Fina, former offensive lineman for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm still working that out with Fina to see if he's gonna be able to make it during the showtime. And then I'm working on a current Buffalo Bills player. I talked to my contact who has contact with him, and I got the okay, but I don't want to put it out there until I get the guarantee. Like, yes, this is definitely going down. So tune in for sure next Wednesday, man. We are definitely gonna we're gonna have a 2-hour show. It's gonna be maybe not 2 hours, but it's definitely gonna be a little longer than the hour that we shoot for now, because we got a lot of guests coming in. And listen, you know, I'm also gonna be doing a little bit more content on this channel. I'm gonna have some other guests discuss some things. I got to talk to a former cornerback for former NFL defensive back. I'm trying to confirm him as well to come in, not for the show next week, but for a show like later on, either this week or sometime this weekend, where we're gonna sit down and we're gonna break down some film on Kaya Elam and talk about different things. It's gonna be a high level conversation. So if you want to come in and learn about what it is to play cornerback in college and in the NFL, if you want to learn what it is, the differences in zone and man-to-man coverage and what's important, keys and checks, different things like that. Like, we're gonna do something big with that. So yeah, tune in, man. Like, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell, so you know when we dropping content. We're moving. We got some things in the works. We got a song getting made for us over the next couple of weeks. We got a guy working on it right now. My man, shout out to Don Brown. Go check his music out. Don Brown, like, he the best rapper you never heard of. I'm telling you, boy got bars. Yeah, we working, man. We're gonna change some things around. With the intro, once we get the song. Yeah, man, like, we working, man. We trying to put a nice product together for y'all. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Beyond, thank you again, man. I couldn't do this without you.
I think it's a bit of
Guy
that rant was one for the ages, and I'm digesting it and enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah,
So
man.
just to reiterate what Will said, everyone in that chat was amazing tonight. Thank you all. It was lively. It felt like we had a space within the show, so it was wonderful. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, man. So we're getting ready to sign off, man. And listen, again, I just want to thank everybody. Like, I appreciate, we cannot do this without y'all. We can't do this without y'all support. I appreciate every single one of y'all that decide to tune in, that decide to show support and chill with us just for a little bit of, just for an hour, man. Even if you're not listening to it live and you listen to it on the playback, man, thank you for tuning in. Like, you could do a ton of things with your time, bro. Do a ton of things with your time, and you chose to spend it with us, man. So we appreciate it. We love y'all. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. We're gonna keep trying to bring y'all great content. And only way to end this, man, is go Bills.
Go Bills.
So go Bills.
Go Bills.
Have a good one, everybody.
See you
Good
soon.
night.
Good night.